Welcome to Season 2 of the Maine Podcast, where small businesses join together to think outside the box and learn how to roll with the punches and stay in the fight. We invite you to tune in whether you're a skeptic, on the fence, or have many years creating Maine-made products. Let's keep that entrepreneurial fire burning strong as we put Maine on the map with the Maine Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to the Maine Podcast Season 2. Today we're joined by Bryon Boutot. He is the operation manager at Box of Maine. We're doing it a little bit different this time. We don't have a small business owner on the show, but we wanted to kick it off. I wanted to shed a little light on Bryon's role here at Box of Maine and just kind of talk about his story, how he came to find us and what we've been working on and our plans for the future. So, without further ado, Bryon, go ahead and introduce yourself to the Maine podcast audience.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, Dan. It's a pleasure to be on here, and I'm happy that I get to join in on the fun. My name's Bryon Boutot, the operations manager here at Box of Maine. Dan brought me in last August to sort of help run the business a little more smoothly. I know he had a lot on his plate. Honestly, I don't know how he did it by himself for so many years. Just the things that I have to deal with, it's a wonder to me that he was able to do everything and then some for years and years. So yeah, Bryon Boutot, Dan's new operations manager.
Yeah, and you might be able to see I'm losing a little hair because I'll tell you what, for all of my small business owners out there, whether you're just starting your business or you've got 3, 4, 5 years into it, every day is a new day, and it just feels like an overwhelming amount of tasks that need to be completed every single day, projects, goals, and I pushed myself to my ability, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And it's tough because as a small business owner, you're trying to save as much money as possible, and like hiring somebody, obviously that's going to be a big cost. So for people that are watching, I'd be careful not to say listening in, because on this season we're bringing the visuals, we're bringing the video. Hopefully it's up to top quality here, but so you're just trying to pinch pennies, Bryon. As you know, I'm always looking to save costs. We get printed business cards, and Bryan's like, we need more business cards. We try to include these business cards in all of our boxes. That way people can contact us directly if they have any issues, or if they just want to say thank you, they want to send pictures. And I'm like, oh, I can't buy the business cards yet. I'm waiting for them to go on sale, or, and so that's my thought process. Like, oh, can I really hire somebody and pay them? What can I afford to pay them? What's that look like? What are all of the tasks and responsibilities do I give this person? And then the whole training process. So I know this is maybe a little uncomfortable or awkward for you, but how did you find out about Box of Maine? And what were some of the, what was your perspective of Box of Maine prior to being a part of the company? What did you know about Box of Maine? And what were some of the things that you felt that you had expertise in, I guess, or, responsibilities?
Well, I guess, first of all, I found out about you guys via Facebook. I saw that your wife had posted that you guys were looking for an operations manager. So, and my wife, she's been really good sticking with me through the different jobs that I've had, but I know she was really tired of me being gone so much. Where I came from a construction background, I was constantly on the road, and she was like, "Hey, did you know that Dan's looking for an operations manager?" And I was like, "No way." So, I kind of put some thought into it and some prayer into it, and reached out to you. But my perception of Box of Maine is I had no idea how big it had gotten since I had last heard about it, because last I had anything to do with Box of Maine or heard about it, it was just some small operation happening out of the basement, couple boxes here, couple boxes there. And so to come in before Christmas time, you brought me in August, and we sat down and we looked at the projections from last Christmas, and I was like, what do you mean you sold 800 Maine Woods candles? Like, there's no way that things are this popping. So I underestimated the size and the pace that the business had grown into. But that was my perception beforehand.
Now, I know that you have some college education, and I don't know how well you did in school, but how do you feel about the responsibilities and the tasks? Did you feel like it was overwhelming at first? And did it seem like, was it a perfect fit for you, or did you kind of have to, and this is like the first time Bryon and I mean, we've had some conversations over, over the past few months, but this is like the first time of me asking. So feel free to answer honestly. I know I'm your boss and I can fire you, but I mean, how did it feel overwhelming? Like, I mean, I guess you kind of already hinted towards that for a holiday
Well,
time.
I couldn't believe the size of the business, but as far as it was definitely a crash course getting into it. When I did, I felt like I had a lot to learn in a short amount of time, knowing that the holidays were right around the corner, and just feeling the pressure and responsibility of, all right, so now ordering all the products and making sure that we have stock and that we don't run out leading into the biggest time of the year. And I'm,
Right.
1 month of experience, that was a lot of pressure to take on. But at the same time, I do feel like, and I don't know if I've told you this before, but I did my first year in college in computer science. So I learned all of it, the ins and outs of like Microsoft Excel and Word, and being able to send emails and troubleshoot different technical difficulties. Like I know we had some issues with the Wi-Fi first
Right.
thing that I was able to help
That's
figure
right.
out what was going on.
Yeah, we're getting
And
half
then
the speeds. We're an online business. We got 4 or 5 computers hooked up at all times, processing information and orders and printing, and communications between each other and customers. And we're running on half speed. And so I don't even know how we figured that out. I just think we were just having issues. And we're like, all right, Bryan's like, hold on, let's take a look at this. Let's run some hard lines. Let's see how we get the speeds up. And that
yeah,
was great.
yeah, so that I do feel like my past education played a little bit of a role. And then my second year, I don't know if you knew this, a lot of people don't, is I was actually working on getting into the nursing program. So I did all of my nursing prerequisites, which was a lot of like memorization and just being able to organize certain things. So that's definitely helped, you know with all the different contacts that we have, all the suppliers that we go through,
Yeah.
being able to organize and just remember stuff. So
And
yeah.
inventory, just the whole inventory thing. We're still working on it, guys. We have a lot more to learn and grow and put in new systems into place. But yeah, we, as Bryan's already mentioned a few times, the holidays are a whole different ball game, if you will, when we have to prepare months ahead of time. And so Bryan and I, we would sit down and we would try to do projections. And like he said, 800 candles, thousands of whoopie pies, and we're battling space issues at the place we're at currently. And so Bryan and I will be looking at you know uh, looking at something a bigger warehouse here soon, hopefully this year.
I
So
hope so.
there's a lot of challenges, but again, as a small business, because that's who we're speaking to, all these other small businesses, they've all faced, we've had a bunch of them on the show last season, and they all face similar things, and trying to keep the overhead low, hiring on people, which we had to bring on some people last year. I brought you on as my operations manager. Then we also brought on a shipping and receiving supervisor. And then we had how many? We had like 2 or 3 other packing crew members as well, where they just came in and just were packing boxes all day long. We were working 10, 12, 14 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great. I think at one point we had 6 or 7 people in the office. Your wife came in, my wife came in.
We
My
had to
little
bring in
brother was here.
the real backup, brought in the
Yeah.
wives. And
Had to
those
get
ladies
stuff
can
done.
work. Yeah, they can. We're goofing off, losing our minds, and the women are, kicking butt and kicking our butts in the
Yeah.
process. But just what a grind it is. And again, all the different obstacles that we face. And so it's been great to be able to get you on here, part of the team. Hopefully you feel like you're part of the team, a part of this journey where we're looking to just package up Maine in a box. It's a simple, fairly simple. We source the products. Why don't we talk a little bit about ordering and sourcing products? And I know that you've obviously helped me out a lot with that too. How's that
Yeah.
process?
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully people already know, but if you don't, we have over 100 different products that we have in our Box of Maine. And so that can be a lot to keep track of when you've got 40 to 50 different businesses that you get product from. And so being able to sit down and kind of figure out, okay, so we have some businesses that we order through email. We have some businesses that require a phone call, and some businesses have order sheets and so
Hmm.
on and so forth, text messages. And so it's, we've got a lot of different routes that we take to get all of this great Maine product into our box. And, we've done some things to kind of organize it a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like we got our incoming and board that in your office now that helps us keep track of all the orders that are coming in, um, write down immediately once we place an order. That way we can see things live. Because I know during Christmas, like, we had UPS shipments showing up and we were like, wait, what is this? It's 200 maple moose pops. Like, and so just being able to organize that a little bit better.
Yeah, and what about like the ordering process too? So like you said, there's multiple ways to order. You just named like four or five. Every company's different. And I kind of like that it's not all cookie cutter. And like you get to know the owners of the company a little bit better. You build these relationships, and so that when you're in a pinch and you need product quickly, why don't you talk on a few companies that really stood out to you during our busy season that far exceeded expectations, and just they were there for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's been one of the best parts of the job is getting to know some of the owners and managers that you've worked with and established relationships with. Like Maine Needham Company, Gerard over there has been amazing to us. I mean, just for an example, this week I placed an order for Needham's on Monday, and they showed up today, and I had to turn around and
Wow.
place another order, and they're already in the mail. So he's come through time and time again, and on
And
top of that,
Malika,
he's
shout
been,
out to Malika
yeah,
as
oh yeah,
well.
Malika. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her yet, but I'm sure we will sometime soon. But no, they've been great. They've exceeded expectations, and they're great people as well. Just getting to via email kind of talk to them and get to know them, realizing that how small of a world it is that he used to know the Brayleys, who are close family friends of mine, and being able
Yeah.
to make those connections. Coastal Maine Popcorn has been fantastic as well. Julie down there, every time that, as you know, popcorn just flies off the shelf. You've got
Yep.
two cases in the back stock, and then you turn around and they're all gone. And so she's been really patient and efficient at getting us the stuff, working with us on special projects, getting us special labels.
Yep.
You
And
know,
that's what it comes down to is when we build these relationships with these other small business owners in Maine, we look, and when we're sourcing new products, we're looking for good people to work with, right? Willing to just tell us how it is, and to, do these things where we're in a pinch and they help us out and they get it to us in a timely manner. The product, obviously the product's got to be a good quality product, and getting it to us again so that it stays in a good quality product, because that can be tricky when it comes to storing. Like everybody else is also facing some of these issues that we mentioned as far as ordering goes, stock levels, shipping. And so the product's big. And what about the price? Sometimes it can be tough to get it to the right price that we need it to be in order to make it a good fit for the Box of Maine. And so these are just a few of the things that we look for when we're sourcing products. And is it a well-known product? Does it have history connected, a connection to Maine? And so I love to be able to find these companies, find the good products, and get them in the box so that we can highlight them and just have a good fit. So yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of the business is also making new friends.
I especially like the suppliers that will help us get private labels. Shout out to Dana over at Beast Feast and
Yep.
also Jimbo over at New England Covered. I enjoy that quite a bit too. Being able to create new products that are branded Box of Maine. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, you just touched on a few things there that we're more than a gift box company. We have all sorts of products that you can get as standalone products as well throughout the year. Whether you're into baking or we're looking at doing a grilling box, we do themed boxes as well for all sorts of different types of holidays, whether it's Mother's Day or Father's Day or Valentine's Day. And we're also looking at trying to work with more businesses as of late. Brian, you can touch on this a little bit because this is something that you've been working on, which has been a great help. But right now, most of our business is direct to consumer, which means you can go to boxofmaine.com and you can order for yourself or somebody else, and we'll ship it directly to them. But over the past years, and more so within the past 6 months, we've been working with some bigger companies, some bigger Maine businesses, and working on getting them, the products that they need for their employees or their clients. We're noticing that because of the pandemic last year, people are still hesitant about going back to work and doing these big annual sales rallies and conferences. So, can you talk a little bit about that and our goals for this year?
Yeah, absolutely. And, direct to consumer is great because we like to give people Maine in a box. Being able to supply people with that happiness is awesome, but it's not everybody wants a box of Maine every week or every month. And so um, stretching out into businesses, like being able to get that commercial gifting or corporate gifting, kind of gives us more of that consistency, um, which is something that's really, really helpful when you're trying to grow the business. Obviously, being able to count on, um, a steady paycheck every month, or finding these big events to give you a boost during the quiet times. So, obviously we've been working with Bangor Savings Bank a lot lately. That's been awesome. Having people, like you said, working from home has presented us an opportunity where they have all of these events and these meetings and rallies, but they're all happening over Zoom now, or
Hmm.
online. And so that kind of opened the door for us, where we specialize in getting people product at their front door. We're able to work really uh, efficiently with businesses to
Yeah.
provide them services to make those meetings and stuff more of an experience, and also help show appreciation to their employees, because it's been tough. My wife worked from home for Wayfair for quite a while, and it was just grueling for her. She had a really hard time, and they sent her a couple of gifts here and there, but it was like a mouse pad, or like,
And nothing
nothing.
says we appreciate you like a mouse pad.
Right, right. So I know that I've talked to some people with the businesses that we've worked with, like Bangor Savings Bank, and they've really enjoyed the boxes, being able to open something up that's from home, that's comforting. Obviously, we have a
I
lot
think
of food
it's
products.
thoughtful. It's like, hey, we really do appreciate your flexibility in these unknown times, having to learn how to do your business from home. Like, there's so
Mm.
many more challenges. Why don't we talk a little bit about some of those challenges? Now, we are fairly small, and it was the same people working here every day. Most of us just went home and then came back to work. Um, but what are some challenges maybe you can help jog my memory that we faced? And I guess what about some of the challenges from 2020 and the pandemic? Have we heard from other people?
Yeah. Well, I know for us, one of the biggest concerns is that one of us would get sick during the holiday season. We pretty much eat, slept, and breathed work all the time, with limited contact with people outside of the office. But, we just thinking about how detrimental it would have been to us if one of us
Yeah.
was to test positive for COVID in the middle of our busy season. I mean,
Mm,
that would be hard to come back from, because we just don't have the space to facilitate being spread out, or the time to run around the clock. That was definitely a struggle that thankfully we didn't have to deal with.
yeah.
I know that other businesses, like we work with a lot of seasonal businesses, obviously, Andrew being one of them, and then Mike over at Hilltop Broilers, like in 2020, without having that huge influx of tourists into the state, their
Right.
sales have been way, way down. There's a lot of seasonal businesses in Maine that I've talked to, even just looking to partner with. My job being to reach out to other businesses and see if Box of Maine would be a good fit for them, for their employees, or for their customers, trying to partner with them. A lot of what I'm hearing is just that they've had such a tough year. They're just trying to survive right now. That really killed a lot of the economy here.
Yeah. I think some people are just holding on. They might have been able to use the PPP loans, but at some point, you gotta get that business in the door. You got to get those sales going. And so in further episodes, we're going to bring on some of these businesses that definitely are struggling to survive. We're also going to be bringing some on that have thrived, and they've made the necessary changes to continue to push forward and grow. So make sure you join us back on another episode of the Made in Maine podcast. I think you're going to really be inspired and you're going to be challenged. We also saw a lot of people that we do business with have issues getting their raw components, whether it was aluminum cans for Moxie soda, or some of those companies like you mentioned, maybe they did have an employee go down, so the production line was cut in half. And so normally when we order chocolate blueberries or something, we can get them in a week, chocolate covered Maine blueberries. But if a machine goes down or an employee gets sick, they got to change their whole way they do the production schedule. And now that 1 week order turns into a 2 week or a 3 week. And so definitely a few examples there of that, the challenges that kind of roll downhill to the end customer.
Yeah, definitely. I know that affected Kate over at Bigsby Co.
That's right.
Earlier this year. She
Yep.
Not only did she have a machine down for a short period of time, luckily she was able to fix it in-house. But I know we placed an order at one point for caramels that typically the turnaround time is 2 weeks, maybe 3. And she said she was 4 to 5, maybe 6 weeks out because she couldn't get the raw components that she needed.
Yep, we got those just in time. And shout out to Kate. She's been an awesome businesswoman to work with. And normally she's, they're very, very quick, and they've faced so many challenges this year, guys. And if we can just give them a little bit of support and shine a little light on these companies, that's what we're going to do. That's what Box of Maine is all about. And I'm so glad to be able to bring on Bryon on this journey as we work together as a team. We have other employees as well, and we're working at growing this team together. And it's been a difficult past year with what we're seeing in Maine, the small businesses.
Can I just touch on that real quick?
Yeah.
You said that one of the things that we try to do here at Box of Maine is to show love to the companies around us and support them and kind of put them in the spotlight a little bit. And that's one of the best things about this job for me. I've worked unsatisfying jobs. I've worked satisfying jobs. Like I was a janitor for a short time, and I found no satisfaction in that because every day he came back.
It's poopy.
The same job. Yeah, it's a poopy job. But there was no accomplishment, or you didn't feel like there was any value to what you were doing. And then the flip side, when I worked construction, being able to build a massive foundation and then look back at it and be like, wow, I made that. Like it was gratifying. But nothing that I've done so far has really come close to the feeling of knowing that you're helping other local businesses, Mainers specifically. I love this state. I was born and raised here. I love everything about it. I drank Moxie since I was a child. Like I go ice fishing on the weekends. Everything about Maine is in my blood. And so to be able to just be a part of Maine businesses, small businesses, to talk to the grandmas in the kitchen making soap, or to know that we're keeping the maple syrup
and the lollipops.
Yeah, exactly. Like that means a lot to me. That's really been one of the highlights of this job, is just being able to interact with and help support other local businesses, because the state does mean a lot to me. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope that things get back to normal here soon, because I really want to bring you to these shows and festivals and these conventions. They were going strong. There's a Moxie festival, there's a Whoopie Pie festival, there's a Blueberry festival. And I think like Maine has clinged onto the history of some of these products that have such a deep root in our culture here. And I think what you'll find, if you haven't experienced it already, is when you go to these shows and you see these people working 2 or 3 jobs, and this one here is something they do on the weekends, and they're out there and they have great products and they want to share them. They want to tell you their story, and they're just very supportive and loving. It's really cool. I don't think you see that everywhere. I've been here my whole life too, so I've had limited exposure to other cities and cultures. But there's definitely something special about Maine. There's a reason why 37 million people were vacationing to Maine every year. I know that number is pretty low, and I'm hoping that opens back up this year. But what a cool thing that we get to do. I don't think when I grew up here, I don't think I appreciated. I don't know if it's the same for you, but I don't think I appreciated that. The Portland Lighthouse right here was not that far away. That people visit Acadia National Park, one of the most sought after national parks to come visit in the whole country.
Mm.
Baxter State Park with Mount Katahdin at the end of the Appalachian Trail. Like there's so many awesome things here in Maine, and we get to capture just a little bit of it. We get to talk about it.
Yeah,
It's fun. Every day is different.
most definitely. That was something that I had to realize over time. When I was younger, not knowing anything else, definitely took it for granted. But as I've had a chance to kind of travel the country, I lived in California for a short period. I've seen pretty much every state on the east side. If you were to
Mm.
divide the U.S. down the middle, I've seen everything to the east, and then a lot along the top over to Wyoming and stuff. And I've seen a lot of really cool things, but there's something special about Maine, and I don't know if that's just something that's holding on in my heart because that's where I'm from, but it certainly seems as though there's a uniqueness uh, to the state that you just can't
Yeah.
find anywhere else.
Yeah. And it's kind of hard to say what exactly it is, but we get these reviews and these people that message us and call us and they share their stories with us. I was just talking to a lady, I think it was yesterday, the day before. She said she moved out to Texas like 40 years ago, and she's longed to come back to Maine ever since then. And so we send her some whoopie pies and we send her some red hot dogs, and it gets her by for the time being. But a part of her longs to come back. And
Mm.
it's just interesting to hear that because we've been here our whole lives. We haven't, I mean, you and I have short times of being in visiting other places, but
Mhm.
we try to capture that the best of our ability to get this in this box, whether it's foods, smells, tastes and things, visuals. So yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, that's Box of Maine. That's what we do here. And again, I want to thank Bryon for taking the time to sit down with me and let me ask him a bunch of questions. It's kind of weird, boss asking his employee questions about the business, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this. You get to know Bryon a little bit better, my operations manager. And what about the future, Bryon? What are some things that we're planning right now for 2021 that people can be watching out for?
Well, I mean, businesses, businesses. I really want to get that corporate gifting aspect up. Um, Again, that consistency. That's one thing that I would like to see thrive this year. Obviously, we're working with BNI right now to expand our social network, get the contacts that we
What's
need.
BNI for those that are watching in?
It's a business networking group that is international. I forget how many chapters there are in Maine. I think there's 30 or 40 chapters in Maine, and then thousands across the US. But basically, it allows us to connect with people that I'm looking to get in touch with without having to cold call. It's based
Nobody
around
likes
the
to cold
concept.
call.
No, dude, that sucks. I did it for a little while when I first came here, and we were trying to look for more businesses to work with, and I did it a couple times, but I didn't see hardly anything from it. And then we decided to join BNI, and I'm thankful that you let me pursue that. But we've already seen some good business from it, and just the connections. Like if I need to get into contact with somebody, I just throw it in the chat, and between the 20, 30 people that are a part of the group, somebody knows that person. It's almost
Right.
guaranteed. But yeah, it
Just a
highlights.
close network of people in the business industry, all different types of industries, though. You have banking and insurance, right? Finance,
Yep,
real
banking,
estate.
insurance, finance. Yep, we've got real estate. We've also got, even like an arborist in our group, or a home inspector. We're looking at restaurant owners right now. So,
Well,
you
restaurant
know,
owners, tough industry right now.
yeah, definitely. I've talked to quite a few, and it's been difficult. Um, a lot of them are just focused on keeping their business alive.
Right.
They're not really looking to network or expand. They're locked
Mm.
into survival mode right now.
Yeah,
So
that's an interesting point that you just you mentioned there is I think some people are locked into survival mode right now. They're just doing everything they can just to hold on, guys. And so what we're going to do on this podcast is we're going to bring on these businesses, the ones that are just holding on. We'll bring in the ones that are thriving too. And we're going to just peel back the layers. We're going to ask difficult questions, and we're going to try to shine the light on their business and put Maine on the map with the Maine podcast. So thank you, Bryon, for hopping on here, doing this introductory episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for listening to Season 2 of the Maine podcast. We hope that you thoroughly enjoyed this episode and would like to ask you to consider sharing it with friends, family, and your business peers. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Also, you can find the Maine podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and all other digital streaming services. If you would like to financially support the show and be a part of putting Maine on the map, you can subscribe to us on Patreon or email mainemainpodcast@gmail.com. So shop local, shop small, and save Maine businesses once and for all.